Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
Hey, hello there. Greetings and welcome to Mercy TV, your source for news and information on medical cannabis as the issue unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. My name is Perry, and along with Sunny, we'll be hosting this episode of Mercy TV. I should also talk about, growing and stuff here. I'm just going to say, thanks, Sunny, for being here this evening. I know it's really busy this time of year for the grower community, and you're helping a lot of folks as well as taking care of the garden there.
Well, there's a lot going on right now, and that's what everybody should be looking for because, the laws are changing. That's what we want to get out. Pete's been going down doing the taping on all the legislation. And, everybody, please give us a call. Look on the website. We can get you some help. Please don't feel like there's no help. We want everybody to feel like, there is some help. And the people that have cards, please keep your cards. Perry, that's the biggest thing that I see going on right now is everybody's letting their cards go. And there's so much to that. I mean, I'm so, the rights, the freedoms, the things that we're able to do and have with our cards.
Well, for example, only the medical cannabis community will have access to dispensaries and resources of that nature.
These are just the things that I am really concerned about, though, is the patients, because the patients need to be able to grow their medicine. They need to be able to share their medicine, because if I need to go over and share with Perry, or if I need to go over and share with that other guy, or that lady over there, or that lady over there, that's what we need to be able to do. That's how our law was wrote. Our law was wrote for us to be able to share medicine with each other, and that was a very good law. We've done it very well.
Wow,
it's worked well. There's been no problems with our law. They want to make it sound like there's been some big conspiracy to sell lots of medicine out of state, but
Oh yeah, that's the big thing there. That there's a lot of most of the marijuana grown for medical purposes is going out of state. Untrue. I wouldn't be surprised. But cannabis has been coming out of Oregon for a long time. There's something called OKGB, which is Oregon Killer Green Bud, and that's been, was famous before the medical law came about. Plus, we've got the, cartel gardens that were going on in our forests and everything that are going to be gone, come July, because everybody can grow their own. Of course, medical patients will be able to grow more, and they'll be able to grow in co-ops, although those will be severely limited if this legislation passes.
well, and that's the thing. Everybody, the four plants per household is one thing. That's, a number of questions have been asked about that. If, come the July is the 4 plants per household, and the patients, the medical patients, have 6 plants.
That's correct.
We
I
want-
think, and there's also the babies, or is that about the
Well,
same?
yes, you can have 18 babies which are under 12 inches, and those babies don't count against your 6 plants.
Well, odd mix of good, bad, and ugly. If the legislation passes that's pending, which is going to limit folks to number of the co-ops, the group gardens, going to limit them to the number of patients and the number of plants that be grown there. But they're also going to get rid of the limitations. So there is, in theory, going to be getting rid of the 12-inch rule at the same time. They've kind of offered that out there. Although I don't know that that's a good exchange for limiting to 48, plants and the number of patients at the cooperative gardens. Their reasoning for it is, as you mentioned earlier, the black marketeering that's supposedly going on as a result of it. But, that's a canard. It's a red herring. It's an excuse. Just like the other things that they're waving out there. This recent thing about pesticides, the big concern, I think you'll note that a lot of these people who are concerned about pesticides now, we're all in favor of spraying the wild cannabis out there, the marijuana that folks are growing, in an attempt to get rid of it and preventing it from going to the market. Also, I think they're trying to kill off the potheads here, actually. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt, and you know, don't let them, the prohibitionists, prevent cannabis with the ruse of making sure that it's all properly tested and everything else. Certainly not beyond what's done for organics. Another canard that's out there is the hemp versus marijuana. And a couple of things that should be noted on that is that there's a lot of feral cannabis out there, wild hemp, and there's folks that are growing outdoors, their plants are growing hermaphrodites and all. Believe me, there's a lot of pollen out there already. And hemp isn't going to put that much more strain on the process. Besides, for the medical gardens, where you're looking in many cases for lower THC, that's not such a big deal, you know, Sonny. Interesting thing, Georgia and Texas both recently passed CBD only laws. So good news, bad news is CBD is being officially recognized as medicine.
And that's one thing that we're very good, because we don't have these limitations on our laws yet.
Right.
And I can see this today. You know, I want to make sure we don't get limited.
Right.
You know, well, because I know personally that I need it all. Just having the CBD is not going to help me. And the CBD is supposed to help seizures. And I have seizures and it's not even doing it. So it's, you know what I'm saying? We need it all. All of us, no matter what our condition is, we need to be able to have it all. That is what we need to be able to have. You know, who is in charge to say that, well, we only need to be able to have one part of the plant?
Right, yeah. That's another piece of legislation that's going to come about, if it's not already being mixed in there, is limiting the amount of trying to control the cannabis by the concentrates, the amount of THC in there, you know. And this is really playing back to reefer madness. You know, it's like folks can't take it. Oh, you know, it's concentrated evil and all that, and that's just not the case.
Well, and people that have used these cannabis products can tell you, well, there's really, the effects are not really what others are thinking by the numbers, or the effects are different. You know, they're thinking, oh, well, these high numbers are going to make you have these mad results. You know, and I'm not hearing these mad results. And
well, basically what we're seeing here is folks have the potential of overdosing, you know, and so, you know, what's going to happen with a cannabis or marijuana overdose? You know, they're going to get sick, they're going to get sleepy. Right. They're going to sit down and not do a whole lot.
And these are the things that, you know, there's nothing that's going to be really bad for you, and it's nothing going to hurt you. You know, it might scare you. There's a difference between hurting you and scaring you. And, you know, a lot of people have been scared and been fine with it, you know, and told me later, man, I shouldn't have ate all of that.
Right. And we warn everybody, we tell them, you know, take a very, very, very little bit and wait for a good half hour, you know.
Well, because everybody's body produces different and breaks down different. So as you eat these different foods and products, and everybody's foods are different and their medicines are different. And that's why it's really important when you're a patient, you can grow your own medicine. And like the lady we was talking with today, she was making her own, and it did so good for her husband. And I think she wants to share about being able to do the RSO, you know, because everybody thinks it's so hard to be able to do that, and she said it's really not.
No, it's just a question of solvent. It's pretty much the same mechanics.
And these are the things that we really want others to be able to try and do, because, You know, these are things, and if you need help doing them, we got people that will help. You know, these are things that we need to do because people are out there that can use it. And it's like the people in the hospital, Perry.
Right.
People in the hospital can really use cannabis, and nobody's told them about cannabis. So if you're in the hospital tonight and nobody's told you about it, please talk to your doctor. It's very important. You know, cannabis could really help you, and this is one of the things that we always like to say hi to the people in the hospital and let them know, you know, cannabis is really a good medicine, and it can help. And a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses, and you know, your family, and these are the things and conversations that we need to have to help. And you might be kind of uncomfortable, but if it'll make you feel better and give you a better quality of life, and these are the things that people in the hospital are trying to get to, is a better quality of life.
Well, they need to get to it. When they get the opportunity, it works out really well, and they want to come back and tell them about it. You know, and there's when we talk about toxicity or the buzz or whatever, there's the topical applications. There's rubbing it on in balms and creams and so forth. And yeah, you could compare or prepare the cannabis in that form there too. So, you know, folks need to contact us if you have any questions, if there's, you know, have any issues, concerns, you know, fears, you know, what's your condition? Give us a call here, 588-6444, and let us know.
Well, you know, and that's another thing. A lot of people that have arthritis pains and these kind of issues in their neck and in their shoulders and in their legs and in their arms, you know, all of these areas can have the topical oils rubbed in, and wow, what a relief. What a relief that you actually get some relief, and you didn't have no side effects from all of those pills. And the pain that you get from all of those things that we're talking, and the relief you get from these topicals are amazing. And it's just that it's like nobody wants you to know about this.
No, I imagine there's a number of industries that would stand to lose substantial monies, you know, if folks could grow their own medicine to apply to this, not just to the soreness, not just to injuries of that nature, but cuts, skin conditions.
Well,
you know,
that's, you know, here pretty soon when people are growing their own plants, these are the things that people are going to be able to do with their plants. You know, be able to make their own oils and make their own butters and foods and everything, and then they're going to talk about, wow, what a great plant they've been able to work with, you know.
Well, you know, a lot of times some folks that are actually upset when they go, you know, who kept this from us? This miraculous thing, this wonderful plant that does all this, that has all these things, that it's benign, it hasn't killed anybody.
Well, now they're just trying to figure out how to tax us. See, you guys, and that's the really important thing. You know, we can sit here and talk back and forth about the different ways how and why it's working and whatnot, but the thing is they're just trying to figure out how to tax us and our usage and the usage on the different products and how much tax to tax on us on each product. You know, and that's not right.
Every step of the way, every person in the process, and it's purely taxation for prevention, really, you know.
This is something that is a plant that we should have all been growing for years, that we should have all been able to grow up with, and had all this all of our lives, and literally it's been all the way around backwards, and now we're finding out about it, and we're here trying to teach about it, and now they're trying to figure out, well, how can we get the people in our community to reach out and let people know, you know, that there are so many things that people need to educate themselves about, Perry.
Right.
And, you know, one of the things is not to be worried about the planting and growing And all of these things are very easy.
Well, what does the indoor grower do with the heat?
You know, a lot of people just say make sure you got ventilation, make sure you got it downstairs. If you got it downstairs, make sure you go downstairs in the basement, because it's always cooler downstairs in the basement.
Right. So if you want more tips and tricks on beating the heat, give us a call here at 588-6444 or try our website at mercycenters.org, and we'll get back to you with your question, comment, curse, or kudo.
You know, a lot of people right now are just so confused with the laws. I'm hearing and seeing a lot of that on the TV all the time about all this, what are we going to do? And people are saying they don't need their license because they're going to be legal. And
Right. Well, they can grow their own 4 plants, but 6 plants is better. Plus, there's the dispensaries and there's the concentrates and other things that
having your
still
license
legal.
and the freedoms that we have, and losing them and having them taken from you. I mean, that's what I just hate to see everybody lose what they've already have. You know, you have it.
Well, I think what Sonny's talking about is that if not enough people are with the program, they're going to try to kill the program. And, you know, that would be bad, folks. That would still be bad, even with the so-called end of prohibition by letting some legalization go on temporarily. You know, we need to, during this legislative session, note these folks that are putting forth these bad laws and, you know, get together. We want to disempower and de-elect, you know, these folks, and you know, use that as our guiding principle and taking this state and indeed our country back. Continue to use the medical cannabis issue and the cannabis law reform, you know, issues. Really.
Well, and like all of those people that have been on there, you know, the one that has stood out above all of them, Prozansky.
Yes, as far as, you know, the white knights, the folks, or green knight, I should say.
Yes.
The folks that are, you know, and the legislators who get it, who understand what this means for we the people. At the same time, we can look at the servants of the special interests. Feroli, the Republican, who's, you know, trying to push forward the interests of the Association of Oregon Industries, big business, you know, supposedly, and the League of Oregon Cities, you know, the municipalities, and these folks, in many cases, overriding what their citizens voted for, are banning, you know, the ability of folks to network their cannabis there in their communities in a manner that's most profitable for everybody, really.
Well, and we're watching them change these laws, you know, with Measure 91 coming in. And the whole thing was they're not supposed to change the medical laws.
Right. And there's been some discussion on various internet forums, some in the paper and all, although not as much. But, and really, the legislative moves to change the medical program were going to be coming whether or not M91 came through. So M91 didn't make these happen either within the text of the thing itself or through political reality. The reality is that we needed to be a part of staying with the program, making sure it did everything it could, doing what we can to improve it. We need to reduce the fees.
Right.
You know, I'm glad this 12-inch rule is going away. That's one of the things we wanted to approach. But the limitations on the group gardens, especially based on reefer madness fear, is unacceptable. And we should have a much clearer, better process for adding conditions to the program as well.
Well, and we want people to be able to, if cannabis helps them, what is the problem with being able to say cannabis helps me and being able to use it and not worry about having any problems with, I see jobs. Jobs are still being a very big problem.
That's another benefit
And
for the medical cannabis community. Only if you have your card. There's no such card for the recreational user, you know.
Exactly,
So.
and that's going to be an issue. So all those people who have a job, who are using it, that are taking care because they know it works, still can't do anything
No.
because
Travel's another issue. I mean, you can still go to California, for example, with your Oregon card and so forth. There's still places that even let you fly to them, you know, that don't have the recreational use doesn't have that benefit. So it's just, you know, all in all, a good thing to try to stay with the program.
yeah, because your medical card has benefits.
Exactly.
Well, and you know, the whole thing is the freedom that the medical card has, and that, you know, everybody has had up to this point, all this time. I am just so, man, I just hate to see everybody lose it.
No, yeah, exactly. And you should not only be a member, but be a member with benefits, which is to join Mercy's network of folks and make sure you that have access to all the, you know, valuable resources that you need.
Well, and people are so worried because, like, the Oregonian had that paper the other day about how bad the pesticides are, and
Right.
everybody's, and you know, when you don't know the people and you don't, all of that's going on. You don't know. Sure, they're testing it. Sure, bro. Everybody's absolutely.
Hey, Al, I
You
wouldn't
know.
be surprised if some of the government's still out there dumping the stuff on cannabis plants on purpose just to get rid of it, you know, use up their issue of it. But again, we shouldn't fall prey to the reefer madness, the folks who want to try to restrict or you know, should be up to the folks' choice to you know, decide if they want to force their growers through this. Certainly, the cooperative gardens, the folks that grow their own, shouldn't be subjected to that. But, you know, again, I suppose that, you know, at least the standards that they would have for other food and organic substances is not unreasonable. Just be wary of the folks that are putting it forward. You know, as I said, they're like with the inhalants, the vaporizers, the laws concerning that, again, wasn't, you know, done towards making sure there was acceptable health and safety regulations. It was about, you know, cannabis around children, you know, again, if you notice that. So, folks, you know, clue in, view us at mercycenters.org to get all this information and more about legislative stuff, what's happening there. Again, about how to get your card, where to find medicine now, and in the short term, of course, and in the long term, you want to get growing, find a grower if necessary, or get growing yourself, you know, and you need plants. In some cases, folks want seeds. And there's many questions about indoor, outdoor.
Well, because all the legislation is changing with everything. And these are the things that we're trying to educate everybody on. And hopefully this show here is letting people know that, you know, we've had the laws like they were. They're getting ready to change. We're trying to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on in our medical community as well as the cannabis community as a whole. You know, there's a lot of people out there.
Well, and a good thing about N91 is that it's going to make it medical for everyone. So every Joe and Jane citizen can
Right.
consume cannabis.
Right.
You can go talk to your doctor about the pro and con effects of it, and you know, take that next step of getting your card and all the benefits with it without fear
Right.
of prosecution.
Well, and that's the thing, and you should
And everything.
feel better about it without it, but yet some people like the people with the job thing, and they're still fighting it.
Yeah, they're going to
So,
resist that.
Yeah, and you know, these are things that we see that are going on, so until we can get some, we got other legal avenues for them also.
Right, but at least we're fighting this battle from a uphill, from you know, the high ground position, and you know, all these issues of driving while intoxicated on cannabis. What about the children? You know, being around while folks are smoking. You know, it should be the same like smoking cigarettes. It should be the same as consuming alcohol, and the level of responsibility and so forth, and education too. That's another thing that needs to change with our system, but for good, I think, to concentrate on the things that are really, harmful, and to concentrate the things that normally get talked about, like, aspirins and cough syrup and things that are, readily available to kids. Do it all the time, but they're big pharma. You don't hear about them,
Well, and these cannabis products are going to be good for everybody. The children as well as the older people. It's all good, These are the things that are very good for the people. And I hope that our show will help educate everybody and let them know that, Perry.
Absolutely. In Europe, cannabis is used as addiction treatment, medicine in place of methadone. And for folks that we know that has been through methadone, wow, what an alternative if it does the same thing.
Well, and look how great, what a great healer, the healing properties. And Perry, I'm so glad you can make it down this week. I look forward to see you again next week. And thanks to all of our volunteers and everybody. We couldn't do it without everybody, and it takes everybody and all the people that help us make it happen.
Absolutely. And, curative, its effects with cancer, possibly being a cure for it, as folks experimenting again in Europe, finding out, for seizures, for spasms, for nausea, for a number of things, and that's just what we know now.
Right.
Register, vote, get everybody you know to do so also. Vote smart. Watch who is putting forth bad legislation, watch who's defending us, and vote for those people accordingly. But mostly, talk it up with your friends and neighbors about cannabis as medicine and how it can help them.
Well, and if you need some help or some information, give us a call, or we'll see you again next week, because we'll be here and you can give us a call. And Perry, it was just glad to see that we can do this show and get the information out to the people, because there's a lot of people out there where they really have nowhere to go with the questions that they have.
Absolutely. Come here to Mercy TV. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we'll see you here next time on Channel 23. Thank you, Sonny, for coming on down. I know you're busy with the garden and all, and
well, it's that time of year.
Helping folks, answering the phones, all that stuff.
And thank you, Perry, and thanks to all of our volunteers here at CCTV.
Oh yeah, that's right. Our TV crew, Lance, PK. Thank you, boys.
And we'll see you again next week.
Next week on Mercy TV.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.